Hey guys, welcome to our practical example for our hip flexor case study. We're going to quickly recap some of the key features that we presented in our Substack article, and then we'll run through an exercise that we utilised to try and sort of help with some of the things that I guess we proposed as the drivers behind some of this hip flexor tightness that this individual had been feeling. In this case itself, we sort of presented a chessboard for the first time through our series, and big credit to Bill Hartman for his work in terms of putting some meaning to the numbers that we take when we're taking these table measures, without going too deeply into each number in this case. Effectively, what the numbers sort of led us to believe with this individual is that they had quite a wide stance, but they were sort of forwards in their base of support, heavy over the right side, and really they had a thorax that was twisting really fast to the right relative to a pelvis, and so they were sort of stuck in this, organised in, I guess, this very sort of twisted posture. Their left foot sort of wanted to leave the ground but wasn't leaving the ground, and so really they sort of just coiled themselves really tightly. And the further that they sort of pulled themselves or turned themselves to the right, they were starting to pull themselves down towards the ground as well. And that was starting to lead to this sensation, or one of many sensations, but lead to this sort of sensation of tightness through the front of the hip, this sort of inability to extend it. And if you put yourself in the same sort of position, you feel lots of things get tight, but you certainly feel sort of nice and jammed up and tight through the front of the hip and unable to extend your hip. So the premise behind what we wanted to do was, well, at least as a first step, was we wanted to sort of slow down this mismatch. So at the moment we had a thorax that was turning really fast to the right, and a sort of a pelvis that wasn't catching up, and so we needed to slow down the rate that the thorax was turning at so that the pelvis could play a little bit of catch up and we could sort of, begin this process of uncoiling ourselves. So the exercise we utilised, or one of the exercises we utilised, was something called a wall walk. And basically the premise behind the wall walk was, again, this is big fast twist, try and slow this down to allow this pelvis to play a bit of catch up. So we're going to use the floor, or we did use the floor as a bit of constraint. So if we whack something behind this thorax, that feasibly is going to help me try and sort of slow down the rate at which it's turning. And we're trying to sort of position ourselves in a manner where we can allow the pelvis to play catch up in that scenario. So the wall walk itself, we're going to sort of get nice and close to the wall with our backside. We're going to be lying down on the ground. We're going to have a right foot up on the wall, and we want to position our right foot in a manner where we can get very heavy through the heel of the right foot and still maintain a nice sort of comfortable pressure through our forefoot. I'm going to establish a nice reach with my right shoulder. I want to create space between my spine and my shoulder blade, and that being able to do that is going to allow me to apply some pressure to that rib cage on the right. If my scapula is too close to my spine, then the pressure that I'm going to exert is effectively going to really sort of push my thorax to the left rather than slow it down. So I want to have space so that I can exert pressure on the rib cage between the spine and the shoulder blade. I'm going to direct that reach. So in terms of establishing that reach, I'm going to reach my elbow up towards the ceiling to begin with, and it should just feel comfortable to do. So I should still feel like when I've got this right reach established, I can still floppily and heavily turn my head from side to side. From there, I will, once and reaching effectively, I'm going to start to reach that right elbow towards my left knee. At the same time, I'm going to bring my left knee up towards my nose. They don't necessarily have to touch, but they're heading towards each other effectively. Having this space between the shoulder blade and the spine is going to allow me to try and get heavier on that right side, particularly as I raise my hips up. So the position from here is going to be that I'm going to try and pull myself up through my right foot. I'm going to hold on to this reach through my right arm and continue to bring this left knee up towards my nose. I'm going to try and get up nice and high. And in this position here, I'm going to really try to get heavy on that right rib cage. And the mobilization we're trying to execute really comes now on the lower. So once I'm up here, I've got that heavy pressure on my thorax, so I'm trying to slow that down. And now I'm going to slowly lower myself down and stay heavy on that right side, which is again going to slow down that thorax and allow that pelvis to play a bit of catch up and come down effectively in line with the thorax as I come back down. So again, I'm going to establish a nice long reach, floppy head, take it towards my left knee, bring the left knee towards my nose, heavy through the heel. I'm going to pull myself up, get nice and heavy on that right rib cage, stay nice and heavy on that rib cage as I lower myself down. And again, this is going to try and allow me to bring my pelvis down at a similar spot to where my thorax is positioned.